What happens when a man rises too fast, too high, and knows too much? Ray Indian Glore wasn't just another biker, he was a force of nature. He alone ran a dangerous empire hidden behind roaring engines and burning asphalt. But power has a price. By the time he was in his 20s, he had already climbed the ranks of the Hells Angels. He became Sergeant at Arms, and soon after, the president of the Los Angeles chapter. His word was law, his presence commanded fear, and then something terrible happened. January 6, 1978, a day that changed everything. What happened to the man who kept an eye over every Hells Angels network worldwide? Yes, Ray had been keeping tabs on everything and everyone, but why? Was he planning something bigger, or had he simply seen too much? But here's the real question. Did Ray Glore really die that night? Or did he leave behind a secret even deadlier than his enemies? He was born on April 23, 1948, in California, USA. Ray Glore loved bikes from a very young age. He was drawn to the thrill and excitement a heavy machine on wheels could offer. He was small but loved the big boys' toys. He was not like other kids playing in mud. Instead, Ray loved the feel of grease on his hands. Instead of spending time with toys, he loved to fix engines and wanted to ride the road soon. Ray Glore. This is a name that is respected even today within the outlaw clubs. He was feared among the brotherhood and lived by strict rules of codes. By the time he was a teenager, he was already riding the back roads and earning fame. He had grown from a boy to a man, and in no time he was building bikes from scratch and racing them like never before. The open roads called him with open arms, and he embraced them like a lover. Los Angeles was his new home, as the outlaw clubs welcomed him. But he was more than just a biker, a lot more. Ray Indian Glore was a born leader with bigger things in life waiting for him. These things became so big that he had to pay with his life, but that was later. Right now, Ray Glore was basking in all his glory, romancing all the roads offered him. His best days are coming in Hell's Angel, and the bad ones will begin soon after that. Ray Indian Glore was not just a famous biker. He was a sharp-minded force of nature, a little beast in his own right. But why Indian? Few say he was a true-blooded Indian by birth. Others say his love for Indian motorcycles was unmatched, one of America's oldest and most legendary brands. Yet, despite all the stories, we still couldn't confirm exactly why he was named Indian. Did the name Indian resonate about his roots or his favorite motorcycle? I'll leave that for you to decide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Soon enough, Ray was a prominent member of the Hells Angels. He started small, but his skill uplifted him up the ranks with ease. Slowly and gradually, he ranked up. Eventually, he reached a position from where he led the club. One of the respected positions, Sergeant in Arms of the Los Angeles chapter, and then comes the final position he served in Hells Angel, chapter president of the same Los Angeles chapter. Ray was a man of loyalty and discipline. He commanded respect and controlled the order of his club with a firm hand. Under his rule, no one dares to touch the Hells Angel on the roads, be it the rival clubs or people who cross the brotherhood. He just knew how to handle and negotiate any problem or a deal. However, the world of the outlaw clubs is not just about bikes and roads, it's also about power and control. By the 1970s, biker culture was dominating through the underground economy. Ray was no different here. He was entangled deeply into the drug trade, not just distributing the drug, but in fact making one of high-quality methamphetamine. They make drugs in different locations throughout South California, and it of course was a thriving business then. Ray had the power and control. He soon started to make money. But as they say, with power comes more enemies. And this is what happened with Ray Indian Glore. He made plenty of friends and some great enemies on the way too. And these enemies are going to come after him in the next chapter. In the early 1970s, outlaws were at their peak. Everyone doing crime, selling drugs, enjoys their success. But there's one problem. They became big, and soon enough authorities got their eyes on them. And the mid-1970s problem started for everyone. Chaos surrounded them from all fronts. Was it the internal wars with the rival clubs, law enforcement, or power struggles within their ranks? Let me explain. By the mid-1970s, they had been perfecting this bad business for nearly 5 years. Clearly, people taking drugs for so long felt the impact. so did everyone else. Crime was rising, and awareness regarding all of these is growing. Soon, the list of drugs and crimes reached the cops, and that's when the ATF game began. And somehow, Ray found himself in the center of it all. Why? Hell's Angels ruled then, just as they do today. Ray was president. Who else do you think the ATF would set their sights on? Soon enough, the Hell's Angels became the primary target of law enforcement. It was not just the ATF, but also the FBI that was playing their cards. Their goal? Tear down the world of organized crime, and they would stop at nothing to do so. Every possible trick in the book, whether undercover operations, wiretaps, or undercover informants, is applied. But it was the 6th of a chill January day in 1978 when something really serious happened with Ray. A day he or no one else anticipated to arrive so soon. The fateful day of January 6th, 3 members of the Los Angeles Hell's Angels faced arrest. Yes, the FBI and ATF together got something. They were charged with possession of stolen dynamite and illegal weapons, but they had no idea. It was only the beginning. They had a more extensive federal investigation. Arrest was part of tactics to change. This led to a huge wave of search warrants on Hell's Angels' homes and clubhouses. And then the most shocking things cops came to know. When they reached Ray Indian's home, the entire bureau and the club was shocked. It was the lifeless body of Ray Indian. Ray Indian Glore was dead. How? He got multiple shots in his head. Was it an internal power struggle between the brothers? Was it a job done by one of the informants? Nobody knew, at least at the moment. The murder scene had more questions than answers. There was no sign of forced entry, no sign of struggle, just the lifeless, cold body of Ray Indian lying on the floor of his own home. But what the authorities discovered in the home, along with the dead body, was all the more shocking. Ray possessed extensive club records and detailed notes on Hell's Angels members from the United States to Europe. This uncovered the fact that Ray kept tabs on the entire network. This further fueled the mystery of his death. And who shot the fatal bullets into Ray's skull? Theories, rumors, and silence. Ray Indian has been long gone. But the mystery of his death still looms. To date, there have been no arrests regarding his murder, and it remains cloaked in mystery. But some popular theories support the act. The power struggles within the outlaw clubs were not new. Ray Indian was a man who knew too much and had immense influence. Maybe he had to be silenced before the law got to him. Another theory suggests the law caught Ray before his own people could. Ray was well known within the drug dealing circles. Hence, plenty of enemies wanted him betrayed and dead. Conflicts were shared between the outlaw clubs. It could be an act of brutal revenge. Maybe a rival club got him executed in cold blood to square, even for a past feud. Whatever might have happened that night, there remains a code of silence within the Brotherhood. No one wants to speak about Ray's death. It is as if it never happened. If it was an internal feud for power, the mission failed with Ray's death. It marked the start of the most demanding time faced by the Los Angeles Hell's Angels chapter. Many prominent outlaw club members, such as George Christie, described how the internal wars worsened at this time on his channel many times. But one thing was sure, Ray Indian Glore was not a name that could fade like sand. He was a legend who rode hard and ruled harder. He lived by his codes and had a considerable following. Ray's name still rings in the bars, on the road, and among the people he knew. For some, he was invincible. For the others, he was a dangerous outlaw. But he remains a legend among the Brotherhood. A biker who lived and died by the code he crafted himself. Ray Indian Glore lived a life at high speed and too fast. He was wild and unforgiving, and rose to power like very few before him. His end was just as dramatic as his life was, mysterious and full of speculations. Ray Indian is a part of the biker lore and is what makes a legend. Even today, as the bikes roar and the roads fade to dust, Ray Indian Glore is a name that floats in the winds forever. Rest in peace.